a man's gotta do.
When you insult my girlfriend, you insult me.
What's that?
I don't know.
What a man's gotta do, and sometimes there's no cure.
I've got this disease, it makes me say the wrong words. That could be £1 sexy. 60.
For Bad Behaviour, tomorrow, 9:35 on BBC One.
Tony and Gary's creator assesses their charm in the new Radio Times, which also has complete listings for all TV and major satellite channels.
Tonight on BBC One.
We've got a flying mouse to kill, and I want to clean my claws.
Prepare yourself for a battle of wits.
You must be joking.
Do I look like I'm joking?
Wear fancy dress
Nice outfit.
and fancy moves mean more to a girl than romance and roses. Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton and Kim Basinger star in the award-winning Batman. Tonight at 8 on BBC One.
Prepare to be spooked out now on BBC One. Comedy in this morning's film, What a Carve-Up.
To some, he's a genius.
What I've seen is remarkable.
To others, he's a gambler.
He is the largest single weather punter in the world.
But come rain or shine, his forecasts are a sure bet.
It's equivalent to winning a national lottery at least twice a year.
QED meets the weatherman with the winning formula tomorrow at 10:05 on BBC One.
A passion for universal tomato sauce now on BBC One with Ian Parmenter.
Hello. Among the many letters I get each week to Consuming Passions, there's one recurring request, and it's for a recipe for tomato sauce. Not a juice or a coulis or a salsa or ketchup, but just straightforward tomato sauce, perfect with pasta, fish, seafood or meat. So today I bring you the Consuming Passions Universal Tomato Sauce. And the process begins not with the tomato but with the onion. One medium onion chopped finely. Now there are those who would say that a tomato sauce shouldn't have onion in it. Rubbish. Of course it should have onion in it. Once that's chopped, it's into a pan with a little virgin olive oil. And it cooks for a couple of minutes just to allow it really to sweat, which gives me a chance to talk about olive oil. There is still confusion about which types of olive oil to use for what. Basically, there are three types: extra light, pure, and extra virgin. They have two things in common. They're low in saturated fat and high in monounsaturates, and that makes them extremely desirable in our daily diet. It also qualifies them for a tick of approval from the National Heart Foundation. Now, the difference is this. The extra light is a highly refined oil. It has a very, very light olive flavour. It's ideal for frying and for salad dressings and mayonnaise. The pure is a blend of refined and pressed oil, has slightly more olive flavour, might be a bit overpowering for mayonnaise, but still is okay for frying. But the last one, the extra virgin oil, this is the first pressing of the oil. It has a beautiful olive flavour and is perfect where you want the flavour of the olive to come through, as in our tomato sauce. But remember that whether you're using extra light or extra virgin oil, all oil is fat, and you should bear that in mind when you're planning your meal. Remember, too much fat makes you fat. Now to our other ingredients: garlic, 3 or 4 good cloves of garlic, simply crushed, the skins taken off, and put into the pan with the onion. A sprinkling of sugar, a couple of teaspoons of sugar, and just a sprinkling of black pepper. This is all then left to cook for about a minute more before we add the tomatoes. For convenience, I use canned tomatoes, Australian of course, and I use 2 425-gram tins, which I then crush like mad. That's the basic tomato sauce. Now for a few optional extras. The first is some herbs. I use some fresh basil when available. I don't use dried, it dries very poorly. A couple of teaspoons fresh, and some oregano. Again, fresh if you can get it, but you could use a half a teaspoon of dried. Then some wine. I add red wine, just half a glass of red wine. A drinking red wine, remembering that if it's not worth drinking, it's not worth cooking with, because as we all now know, life's too short to drink bad wine. See? And last, but by no means least, a small strip of red capsicum, just for the pepperiness that it gives. It's all left then on low heat to bubble away until it's reduced to a nice thick consistency. There's only one mistake you can make with this sauce, and that's by not reducing it enough. If you reduce it to a thickish syrup, the texture and flavour will be superb and ideal for pasta. If you let it reduce some more, it'll thicken, and it's perfect for the Consuming Passions mini pizza-ettes, which I just had time to show you today. They make a wonderful snack. They're very simple to do using the basic Consuming Passions bread recipe. After kneading vigorously for 5 or 6 minutes, I simply make up some little pizza shapes, put them onto an oiled tray, top them with a topping of that beautiful tomato sauce, add a sprinkling of mozzarella, and put them in a hot oven, 220 degrees, for about 10 minutes. And here it is, the Consuming Passions Universal Tomato Sauce on its beautiful pizza base. So simple, so delicious, high-energy food, ideal to set me up for the task ahead. From Consuming Passions, bon appetit.
If you'd like the recipe book to accompany this series, please send a cheque or postal order for £2.50, made payable to BSS to this address: Consuming Passions 2, P.O. Box 7, London W3 6XJ.
Friday night on BBC One. And at 7, Mark Morrison presents Top of the Pops with an exclusive first solo performance from Gary Barlow. At 7:30, Fast Forward to the Future.
Time travel today is already theoretically possible.
At 8, oh no! They're playing the Olympic game. At 8:30, John finds a new friend.
Hello, Mr. Table.
At 9:30, A Fall from the Sky in 999.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Highlights from the day's play at Wimbledon. And at 11:25,
Something's going on here. Something that scares me.
unexpected guests in the invasion of the Body Snatchers. Friday night on BBC One.
There's an early start at Wimbledon today, so the action's getting underway right now on BBC Two. This is BBC One with the Midday News from Andrew Harvey.
Good afternoon. Boris Yeltsin's officials are voicing concern about a low turnout in the second round of the presidential elections. It's thought a high poll would help the president. Rumours about Mr. Yeltsin's health were fuelled this morning when he unexpectedly decided to cast his vote at a government complex outside Moscow.
The Kremlin gathered the world's press at a Moscow polling station this morning and told us Mr. Yeltsin would come to vote. He didn't. Instead, an embarrassed-looking spokesman was dispatched to explain that the president had in fact voted privately at his country residence outside the city.
Why did he He's fine, he's healthy.
But it was some hours before edited pictures from the Kremlin's own cameras showed a stiff-looking Mr. Yeltsin explaining why he hadn't appeared.
Well, as far as appearing for the press, I think I've exceeded my quota by 120% in the past 6 months.
With Mr. Yeltsin apparently suffering from more than the officially acknowledged sore throat, his communist challenger, Gennady Zyuganov, was quick to call for an official inquiry into his fitness to govern.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Michael Heseltine, has just announced that Manchester is to receive £21 million in aid. The money will be used to help rebuild those parts of the city centre which were damaged by the IRA bombing 2 weeks ago. The Police Complaints Authorities called for closed-circuit television cameras to be installed in the custody areas of all police stations to help their investigations into complaints. They say that video footage from the cameras would provide indisputable evidence which could reduce the number of malicious complaints against officers and remove the need for long, costly investigations. The Labour leader Tony Blair has said he will keep tough constraints on public spending if Labour wins the next election. Speaking to businessmen in Birmingham, he outlined the economic policies that are being published in Labour's draft manifesto tomorrow, and he gave an assurance that Labour would not be a party of high taxation.
I would characterise our approach as one of save and invest, not tax and spend. In addition, we have made it clear there will be no return to the penal rates of the 1970s, under, I may say, both Labour and Conservative governments at that time. We must have a tax system that is internationally competitive and fair, and which encourages savings, investment, work and opportunity.
An all-party group of MPs is calling for urgent action to cut lead levels in drinking water. They're meeting the Environment Secretary John Gummer today to demand the rapid removal of lead pipes from households across Britain. Because such pipes are normally found in the home, they're not the responsibility of water companies. The MPs want more to be done to encourage consumers to replace their own water pipes. Tennis fans have begun taking their seats on Wimbledon's centre court for Tim Henman's match against the American Todd Martin. The spectators, some of whom queued overnight, will see the first men's quarter-final featuring a British player for 23 years. Henman reached today's match by beating Magnus Gustafsson in the fourth round. And that's all for now. The next news is the 1 o'clock news.
And now the region's news. A very good afternoon to you. A 16-year-old youth has been charged with the murder of another teenager in Milton Keynes. 15-year-old Stephen Smith from the Hyde on the Netherfield estate died after an argument in the street. The teenager charged will appear before Milton Keynes magistrates later today. The body of a man from Norfolk who went missing at a marina in Suffolk has been found by police divers. Tom Cook from Garbaldersham was staying on a sailing boat at Levington Marina when he went missing. Detectives hunting the killers of a German tourist in a Bedford hotel say they found a car which could be linked to the murder. 56-year-old Joanna Zardibon was shot dead at the hotel 5 weeks ago during an attempted armed robbery. 4 men are still being questioned in connection with the killing. A new turkey factory is to be built near Lowestoft in Suffolk. Bernard Matthews' company wants to rear 80,000 turkeys in 12 sheds at the former airfield site at Ella. The proposals were approved last night, despite strong protests from nearby residents about noise and smell. That's it from us for now. Join us with Look East lunchtime news at 1:30. The weather now from